In a village where the stars have vanished, a girl discovers a book that whispers truths no fire can destroy. But when its power pulls her into a war between cosmic forces, she must mend a broken sky or watch the universe unravel. Chapter 1. The Whisper in the Starless Night. The wind howled like a lonely wolf, clawing at the crooked shutters of Elara's attic window. She was 16, with tangled black hair and eyes that always seemed to search for something no one else could see. A village. Grimhold squatted at the edge of a forest so old it felt like it had secrets stitched into its roots. The sky above was wrong tonight. No stars, no moon, just a thick, inky black that pressed down like a heavy blanket. Elara sat cross-legged on her creaky bed, a candle flickering on the table beside her, its weak light dancing across the walls. Like nervous ghosts, she wasn't supposed to be awake. Her mother, Agnes, had warned her about staying up past midnight. The night's got ears, Agnes would say, her voice sharp as a knife. It listens, and it don't like what it hears. But Elara couldn't sleep, not tonight, not when the air felt alive, buzzing with a strange hum that made her skin prickle. It wasn't a sound you could hear with your ears. It was deeper, like a heartbeat, thrumming through the bones of the world. She pulled her quilt tighter around her shoulders, her breath puffing out in little clouds. The attic was cold, always cold, no matter how many logs her father, Tom, stacked in the hearth downstairs. The house was old, older than Grimhold itself, with walls that groaned and floors that whispered secrets when you stepped on them. Elara loved it though. It felt like a friend, like it knew her better than anyone else. On the table, next to the candle, sat the book. Not just any book, the one she'd found 2 weeks ago in the hollow of an oak tree, half buried in moss and dirt. It was heavy, bound in leather so dark it seemed to drink the light. The cover had no title, just a symbol etched deep into it, a circle with a jagged line cutting through it, like a broken star. When Elara touched it, her fingers tingled, and she swore she heard a whisper, not words, but a feeling, like the book was alive and trying to tell her something. She hadn't told anyone about it, not her mother, who'd probably burn it, thinking it was cursed. Not her father, who'd just laugh and call it a silly girl's fancy. Not even her best friend Lila, who'd chatter about it to the whole village. Elara kept the book hidden, under her bed, wrapped in an old shawl, and only took it out when the house was quiet, and the night felt safe. Tonight though, the book wasn't quiet. It was calling her. Not in a loud way, but in that deep, bone-shaking hum that made her heart race. She reached under the bed, her fingers brushing the rough leather. The moment she touched it, the candle flickered, almost going out. Her breath caught, and she froze, listening. The wind outside had stopped. The world was silent, too silent, like it was holding its breath. Elara pulled the book onto her lap. It was heavier than she remembered, like it had grown since the last time she held it. She ran her fingers over the symbol, and the tingling shot up her arm, sharp and electric. Her heart pounded, but she couldn't stop herself. She opened the cover. The pages weren't normal. They weren't paper, not exactly. They were thin, almost like silk, and they shimmered faintly, like moonlight trapped in water. The words, if you could call them words, weren't in any language Elara knew. They were symbols, twisting and curling like smoke, glowing faintly in the candlelight. When she stared at them, they seemed to move, slithering across the page like living things. Her head ached, but she couldn't look away. The symbols felt like they were pulling her in, like a river tugging at her feet. Elara, a voice whispered. She gasped, slamming the book shut. The candle went out, plunging the attic into darkness. Her heart thundered in her chest, and she clutched the book to her, eyes darting around the room. The voice wasn't her mother's or her father's. It wasn't anyone's. It was soft, like a breeze, but it came from everywhere and nowhere, like it was inside her head. "Who's there?" she whispered, her voice shaking. The silence answered, heavy and thick, like it was waiting for something. She fumbled for the candle, her hands trembling as she struck a match. The flame sprang to life, and the attic was empty. Just her, the book, and the shadows. But the shadows weren't right. They stretched too long, curling up the walls like fingers reaching for the ceiling. Elara's breath hitched. She swore she saw one move, slinking along the wall like a cat. She blinked, and it was gone. Just a trick of the light, she told herself. Just her imagination. She opened the book again, slower this time. The symbols glowed brighter, and the hum in her bones grew louder, like a song she couldn't quite hear. She turned the page, and there it was, a drawing. Not a sketch, but something so real it looked like it could step off the page. It was a figure, tall and thin, cloaked in a robe that seemed made of stars. Its face was hidden, but its eyes, two burning points of light, stared right at her. Elara's stomach twisted. She felt like the figure was looking through her, seeing every secret she'd ever kept. Below the drawing, the symbols shifted, forming words she could suddenly read. The book chooses its keeper. The keeper chooses the path. Elara's mouth went dry. Keeper, path. What did that mean? She wanted to close the book, to shove it back under the bed and forget it, but her hands wouldn't move. The words glowed brighter, and the hum became a voice, not the whisper from before, but something deeper, older, like the voice of the forest itself. You are the first, it said, the spark in the dark. The book is yours, but it is not yours alone. Elara's heart raced. Who are you? She whispered. What do you want? The voice didn't answer. Instead, the candle flared, and the shadows on the walls twisted, forming shapestry stars, a vast, endless sky. Elara blinked, and for a moment, she wasn't in her attic anymore. She was somewhere else, somewhere vast and cold, with stars spinning above her, and a ground that felt like it was made of glass. The figure from the drawing stood before her, its starry robe shimmering, its eyes like twin suns. Do not fear the fire, it said, its voice echoing in her chest. The book cannot burn, and neither can you. Elara screamed, and the vision shattered. She was back in her attic, the book open on her lap, the candle burning low. Her hands shook as she slammed the book shut and shoved it under the bed. She crawled under her quilt, pulling it over her head like a shield. Her heart pounded so loud she thought it would wake the whole house. Morning came slow. The sky outside her window, grey and heavy, like it was still holding on to the night. Elara didn't sleep. She couldn't. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw those burning eyes, heard that voice. The book was still under her bed, and she could feel it, like it was watching her. She dragged herself downstairs, where her mother was kneading dough at the kitchen table. Agnes looked up, her sharp eyes narrowing. You look like death warmed over, she said. What's got you so pale? Nothing, Elara lied, her voice barely above a whisper. She grabbed a piece of bread and slipped out the door before her mother could ask more questions. The village was quiet, the streets muddy from last night's rain. Grimholt was a small place, all grey stone and sagging roofs, with the forest looming at its edges like a dark promise. Elara headed for the market, hoping the noise and chatter would drown out the voice in her head. But as she walked, she felt a hum, faint but there, like a thread tying her to the book. At the market, Leela found her. Leela was all sunshine, with golden hair and a laugh that could make anyone smile. Elara, you look like you saw a ghost, she said, linking arms with her. Come on, tell me what's wrong. Elara forced a smile. Just didn't sleep well, she said. She wanted to tell Leela about the book, the voice, the figure, but the words stuck in her throat. What if Leela thought she was crazy? What if the book wasn't meant to be shared? Leela dragged her to a stall selling apples, chattering about the harvest festival. But Elara wasn't listening. Her eyes caught something across the marketer man, tall and thin, standing in the shadows of an alley. He wore a dark cloak, and though she couldn't see his face, she felt his gaze, sharp and heavy, like a knife pressed to her skin. Her heart skipped. Was it the figure from the book? She blinked, and he was gone. Just an empty alley, with nothing but a stray cat slinking away. Elara's hands shook as she grabbed an apple, pretending nothing was wrong. But deep down, she knew something had changed. The book wasn't just a book. It was something older, something alive, and it had chosen her. That night, Elara sat by her window, staring at the starless sky. The book was still under her bed, and she could feel its pull, like a tide tugging at her soul. She didn't want to open it again, but she knew she would. The voice, the figure, the words, they were part of her now, woven into her like threads in a tapestry. She was the keeper, whatever that meant, and there was no going back. The wind howled again, and this time it carried a whisper, not the voice from before, but something new, something colder. Find the library, it said. The truth lies beneath. Elara's breath caught. She didn't know what the library was or where to find it, but the words sank into her, heavy and certain. The book was calling her to something bigger, something that scared her more than anything ever had, and deep in her heart, she knew she'd answer. Chapter 2. The library beneath the earth. Elara's boots sank into the muddy path as she slipped out of Grimholt, the village's lanterns fading behind her like dying stars. The forest loomed ahead, its trees twisted and black, their branches clawing at the starless sky. It was past midnight, and the air was thick with a chill that bit at her skin. She clutched her cloak tight, her breath puffing out in white clouds, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. The book was tucked inside her satchel, its weight pulling at her shoulder, like it was trying to anchor her to the earth. But she couldn't turn back, not after the whisper last night. Find the library. The truth lies beneath. She hadn't planned to go tonight. All day, she'd tried to ignore the book, shoving it deeper under her bed, pretending the voice was just a dream. But the hum was stronger now, vibrating in her bones, tugging her toward the forest like an invisible thread. She'd waited until her parents were asleep, their snores drifting through the house, before sneaking out. The village felt wrong tonight, too quiet, like it was holding its breath. Even the crickets were silent, and the wind carried a faint, sour smell, like something rotting deep in the woods. Elara didn't know where she was going. The whisper hadn't given her a map, just those words, the library beneath. Grimholt had no library, not even a bookshelf worth calling one. The closest thing was Old Man Torrin's shop, stuffed with dusty scrolls and maps. But that wasn't what the voice meant. She felt it in her gut. This library was something else, something hidden, something the village didn't know about. The forest path twisted, the trees pressing closer, their roots snaking across the ground like veins. Elara's cap swung in her hand, its weak flame flickering, barely pushing back the dark. She'd taken it from the attic, hoping it would keep her brave, but the shadows seemed to eat the light, stretching long and thin, like fingers reaching for her. Her satchel bounced against her hip, the book inside thumping with every step, as if it was impatient, urging her on. She stopped at a fork in the path. To the left, the trail led to the river, where the village kids fished in summer. To the right, it vanished into a part of the forest no one went, a place called the Hollow. Stories about the Hollow were whispered in Grimholt's tales of people going in and never coming out, of lights that danced between the trees, of voices that called your name. Elara's mother said it was cursed, that the ground there was sour, poisoned by something older than the village. Her father just laughed and said it was nonsense, but even he avoided it. Elara's breath hitched. The hum in her bones was louder now, pulling her right toward the Hollow. She didn't want to go. Every story she'd ever heard screamed at her to turn back, to run home and crawl under her quilt. But the book was heavy in her satchel, and the whisper echoed in her mind. Beneath, beneath, beneath. She took a shaky step to the right, then another, the lantern trembling in her grip. The forest changed as she entered the Hollow. The air grew colder, sharper, like breathing in frost. The trees were different here, taller, thinner, their bark black and slick, like they'd been dipped in ink. The ground was soft, spongy, and her boots sank deeper with every step. The lantern's light barely reached a few feet, and the shadows moved, slithering across the trees like smoke. Elara's heart raced, but she kept walking, the hum guiding her like a song only she could hear. She didn't know how long she walked, minutes, hours. It all blurred together. The path was gone now, swallowed by the forest, but she didn't feel lost. The book was her compass, its hum steady and sure. Then she saw it, a clearing, ringed by trees so tall they seemed to pierce the sky. In the center was a stone, flat and wide, like a table. It was carved with the same symbol as the book, a circle with a jagged line, like a broken star. The hum was deafening now, shaking her teeth, making her vision blur. Elara knelt by the stone, her hands trembling as she set the lantern down. The symbol glowed faintly, pulsing in time with the hum. She touched it, and the ground shuddered, a low groan echoing through the forest. She stumbled back, her heart in her throat, as the stone slid aside, revealing a hole in the earth. Stairs spiraled down, carved from black rock, their edges worn smooth, like they'd been walked on for centuries. The library. It had to be. Elara's mouth went dry, but her feet moved before she could think, stepping onto the stairs. The air grew colder as she descended, the lantern's light bouncing off the walls. The stairs were steep, twisting deeper and deeper, until she was sure she was under the forest, under the world itself. The hum was everywhere now, filling her head, her chest, her bones. The stairs ended at a door, heavy and wooden, carved with symbols that matched the books. Elara pushed it open, and the hum stopped, replaced by silence so thick it felt like drowning. She stepped inside, and her breath caught. The room was vast, bigger than Grimholt's square, its ceiling lost in darkness. Shelves lined the walls, stretching up and up, filled with books not like hers, but strange, their covers glowing faintly, some pulsing like heartbeats. The air smelled of old paper and something sharper, like lightning after a storm. In the center of the room was a pedestal, and on it sat a single book, open, its pages glowing so bright they hurt her eyes. Elara's satchel felt heavier, the book inside tugging her forward. She walked to the pedestal, her boots echoing on the stone floor. The book on the pedestal was different from hers. Its cover was silver, its pages alive with symbols that danced and shifted. She reached out, but before she could touch it, the air shimmered, and a figure appeared. It was the figure from her book, the one with the starry robe and burning eyes, but it was taller now, its presence filling the room like a storm. Its robe shimmered, stars swirling across it, and its eyes were twin flames, bright and unblinking. Elara's knees buckled, but she didn't fall. The book in her satchel pulsed, steadying her. "You have come," the figure said, its voice like 1,000 whispers layered together. The keeper of the first book, the spark in the dark. Elara's throat was tight. "What is this place?" she asked, her voice small. "What's the library?" The figure's eyes burned brighter. "The library beneath the earth holds the truths of the cosmos. Every book is a piece of the universe, a story that binds the stars. Your book is the key, the first of many. It chose you, Elara of Grimholt, to guard it, to walk its path." "Path?" Elara's voice shook. "I don't understand. I'm just me. I'm nobody." The figure tilted its head, and the stars on its robe swirled faster. "Nobody is nobody. The book sees what you cannot. It sees the fire in you, the light that cannot be burned." Elara's hand went to her satchel, where her book thrummed against her side. "What do I do with it?" "Why me?" The figure raised a hand, and the air around it shimmered, showing images, stars exploding, skies cracking open, a village swallowed by shadows. "The world is fraying," it said. "The books hold it together, but they are scattered, lost. You must find them, protect them, or the cosmos will unravel." Elara's heart pounded. "Find them? Where? How?" The figure didn't answer. Instead, it pointed to the book on the pedestal. "Read," it said. "The truth lies within." Elara hesitated, her hands shaking as she reached for the silver book. The moment her fingers touched it, her vision exploded. She saw stars, endless and bright, spinning in patterns that made her head ache. She saw worlds, some green and alive, others dead and grey. She saw Grimholt burning, its houses crumbling to ash. She saw herself, older, holding her book, standing in a sky filled with broken stars. She gasped, pulling her hand back. The visions faded, but her head throbbed, and her eyes stung with tears. "I can't," she whispered. "I'm not strong enough." The figure's eyes softened, just a little. "Strength is not given, it is made. The book chose you because you can choose to be more." Elara wanted to run, to climb the stairs and never look back. But the book in her satchel hummed, warm and alive, and she felt it, the spark the figure talked about, small but growing, like a fire in her chest. She nodded, her throat tight. "What do I do now?" The figure gestured to the shelves. "The library is yours to explore, but beware. Not all truths are kind, and not all books are safe. Take yours, and guard it well. The path begins here." Elara opened her satchel and pulled out her book. Its cover glowed faintly, the broken star symbol pulsing. She held it close, feeling its warmth, its weight. "Will you help me?" she asked. The figure's form flickered, like a candle in the wind. "I am the watcher, bound to the library. I guide, but I cannot walk your path. Others will come, some to aid, some to destroy. Trust the book, Elara. It will not lead you astray." Before she could ask more, the figure vanished, leaving only a faint shimmer in the air. The library was silent again, but it didn't feel empty. The books on the shelves seemed to watch her, their covers glowing, their pages whispering. Elara's heart raced, but she took a step toward the shelves, her book clutched to her chest. She didn't know how long she stayed, walking between the shelves, running her fingers over the books. Some were warm, some cold, some hummed like hers, others were silent. One book, small and black, burned her fingers when she touched it, and she yanked her hand back. her skin red and stinging. Another, bound in blue leather, sang softly, a melody that made her want to cry. She didn't open any of them. Not yet. The watcher's warning echoed in her head. Not all books are safe. That the lantern was burning low when she finally turned back to the door. The silver book on the pedestal was still open, its pages glowing, but she didn't touch it again. The visions had been too much, too big. She needed time to think, to understand what she'd seen. As she'd climbed the stairs, the hum in her bones faded, but it didn't disappear. The book in her satchel was quiet now, but she felt its presence, like a friend waiting for her to speak. The stone slid back over the entrance when she reached the top, sealing the library away. The forest was still dark, but the air felt lighter, like the world had taken a breath. Elara stumbled back to Grimholt, her mind spinning with stars and shadows. The village was asleep, its houses dark, but she felt eyes on her, like the forest was watching. When she slipped into her attic, the book went back under her bed, but she didn't sleep. She sat by the window, staring at the starless sky, the watcher's words echoing in her head. The world is fraying. The next morning Grimholt felt different. The air was heavy, the people quieter. Lila found Elara at the market again, her smile dimmer than usual. "You look worse than yesterday," she said, her eyes worried. "What's going on?" Elara wanted to tell her, but the book felt like a secret too big to share. "Just tired," she said, forcing a smile. But as they walked through the market, she saw him again, the man in the dark cloak, standing by the blacksmith's stall. His face was hidden, but his eyes caught hers, sharp and cold, like a blade. She blinked, and he was gone. Her heart sank. The watcher had said others would come, some to destroy. Was he one of them? And if he was, what did he want with her book? That night, Elara opened her book again, her hands steady despite her fear. The symbols glowed, and the hum returned, softer now, like a lullaby. She didn't see the watcher, but she felt the library, far below the earth, waiting for her. The path was hers now, and she couldn't turn back. The forest whispered as she closed the book, and the starless sky seemed to pulse, like it was hiding something just out of sight. Elara didn't know what the library held, or what the book wanted, but she knew one thing: her life wasn't just hers anymore. It belonged to the book, to the library, to the cosmos itself. Chapter 3. The ink that bleeds. Shadow. Solera's breath fogged the attic window as she stared into the night. The village of Grimholt, swallowed by a darkness so thick it felt like ink. The book lay open on her lap, its pages glowing faintly, the broken star symbol pulsing like a heartbeat. It was past midnight, and the house was silent, but her mind buzzed with the memory of the library beneath the earth. The watcher's words echoed in her head. "The world is fraying. The books hold it together." She didn't understand what it meant, but the weight of it pressed on her chest, heavy as the book itself. She hadn't gone back to the hollow since finding the library 2 nights ago. Fear kept her away, fear of the dark stairs, the glowing books, the watcher's burning eyes. But the book in her hands wouldn't let her forget. Its hum was constant now, a low thrum in her bones, like a song she couldn't shake. Every time she touched it, her fingers tingled, and the symbols on the pages seemed to whisper, urging her to read, to act, to move. Tonight, she'd given in. She sat cross-legged on her bed, the candle on her table casting jittery shadows across the walls. The book's pages were open to a new section, one she hadn't seen before. The symbols were different, sharper, more jagged, like thorns. Below them was another drawing, not of the watcher, but of something else, a hand, pale and thin, holding a quill that dripped black ink. The ink wasn't normal. It moved on the page, curling and twisting like smoke, forming shapes that made Elara's stomach churn. Eyes, faces, claws. She traced her finger over the drawing, and the ink shifted, spilling off the page, not onto her lap, but into the air, hovering like a dark mist. Elara gasped, yanking her hand back. The mist swirled, forming a shape of figure, small and hunched, with eyes like empty holes. It floated above the book, silent, staring. Her heart pounded, and she slammed the book shut. The mist dissolved, but the air felt wrong, heavy, like it was watching her. "What are you?" she whispered, her voice shaking. The book didn't answer, but the hum grew louder, sharper, like a warning. She shoved it under her bed, her hands trembling, and blew out the candle. The attic was dark, but the shadows moved, slithering across the walls like the ink in the book. She pulled her quilt over her head, trying to block them out, but the hum followed her, echoing in her dreams. Morning came grey and cold. The sky over Grimholt, heavy with clouds that looked like bruises. Elara dragged herself downstairs, her eyes burning from lack of sleep. Her mother, Agnes, was at the stove, stirring a pot of porridge. "You're pale as a ghost," she said, her voice sharp. "What's got you so rattled?" "Nothing," Elara mumbled, grabbing a bowl. She couldn't tell her mother about the book, the library, the ink. Agnes would call it devil's work and burn the book or try to. Elara's stomach twisted at the thought. The book couldn't burn, but what would happen if someone tried? She slipped out before her mother could ask more, heading for the market. The village felt off, like the air was too thick, the colors too dull. People moved slower, their faces tight, like they felt it too. Elara's satchel bounced against her hip, the book inside heavy and warm, like it was alive. She hadn't wanted to bring it, but leaving it under her bed felt wrong, like abandoning a friend. Leela found her near the baker's stall, her golden hair catching the weak sunlight. "Elara, you look awful," she said, her smile fading. "What's wrong? You've been weird for days." Elara forced a laugh. "Just not sleeping well." She wanted to tell Lila everything, the book, the watcher, the library, but the words stuck in her throat. The book was her secret, her burden. Sharing it might put Lila in danger, and Elara couldn't bear that. As they walked through the market, Elara's eyes darted to the shadows. She'd seen the cloaked man again yesterday, his cold gaze cutting through her. He hadn't appeared since, but she felt watched, like eyes were hiding in every corner. Now, standing by a cart of apples, she froze. Across the square, near the blacksmith's forge, stood a figure, not the cloaked man, but someone new, a woman, tall and thin, her face hidden under a hood. Her cloak was dark, but it shimmered, like it was woven from night itself. She turned, and Elara swore she saw a glint of eyes, silver and sharp, like knives. "Leela," Elara whispered, grabbing her friend's arm. "Do you see her?" Leela frowned, following Elara's gaze. "Who?" "There's no one there." Elara blinked. The woman was gone, the spot by the forge empty. Her heart raced. Was she imagining things? Or was the book doing this, making her see what others couldn't? That night, Elara couldn't resist the book's pull. She locked her attic door, lit the candle, and opened it again. The ink drawing was still there, the hand with the quill, the ink dripping like blood. But now, words appeared below it, glowing, faintly. "The ink binds the truth binds the stars." She stared, her breath shallow. The hum was back, louder, urging her to keep reading. She turned the page, and the symbols shifted, forming a map not of Grimholt or the forest, but of something bigger, a place with no edges, filled with stars and voids. At the center was a circle with a jagged line, the broken star symbol. Around it, other symbols glowed, each one tied to a word. Keeper, seeker, breaker. Elara's head spun. Keeper, that was her, the watcher had said so. But seeker, breaker, were those the others the watcher mentioned, the ones who would come to help, or destroy? She touched the map, and the ink moved again, spilling off the page, forming the hunched figure with empty eyes. This time, it spoke, its voice like a hiss of wind through dead leaves. "Right," it said, "the ink demands it." Elara's hand shook as she reached for a quill on her table. She didn't know why, but she dipped it in the ink pot, her heart pounding. The moment the quill touched the page, the ink turned blacker than black, thick and alive. She wrote her name. The ink sank into the page, glowing, then spreading like a stain. The book trembled, and the room darkened, the candle's flame shrinking to a pinprick. Shadows poured from the page, not mist this time, but shapes, hands, faces, things with too many eyes. They swirled around her, cold and heavy, whispering words she couldn't understand. Elara dropped the quill, her hands shaking, and slammed the book shut. The shadows vanished, but the air was thick, like she'd breathed in smoke. Her name was still on the page, glowing faintly, like it was part of the book now. She didn't sleep that night. The book stayed on her lap, its hum softer but still there, like a heartbeat. She felt different, like something had changed inside her. The ink had done something, tied her to the book in a way she didn't understand. When morning came, she hid it under her bed again. But the weight of it lingered, like a shadow she couldn't shake. At the market, Lila noticed the change. "You're scaring me," she said, her voice low. "You're not you anymore, Elara. Tell me what's going on." Ilara's throat tightened. She wanted to tell Lila, but the book's hum pulsed in her chest, warning her to stay silent. "I'm fine," she lied, her voice flat. Lila's eyes narrowed, but she didn't push Dot. As they walked, Elara saw the woman again, standing by a cart of herbs. Her hood was down now, revealing a face pale as bone, with silver eyes that seemed to glow. She smiled, a thin, sharp smile, and held up a hand. In it was a quill, its tip dripping black ink. Elara's heart stopped. The woman vanished before Lila turned to look. That night, Elara didn't touch the book. She couldn't. The ink scared her, the way it moved, the way it spoke, but the hum was relentless, pulling her back to the forest, to the hollow, to the library. She resisted for 2 days, staying in the village, avoiding the shadows. But on the third night, she couldn't fight it anymore. She slipped out of Grimholt, the book in her satchel, the lantern in her hand. The forest was darker than before, the air thick with that sour smell. The hollow felt alive, the trees whispering as she passed. When she reached the clearing, the stone was already open, the stairs yawning like a mouth. She descended, her heart pounding, the hum guiding her. The library was different this time. The shelves seemed to shift, the books glowing brighter, some humming, some silent. The pedestal was empty, the silver book was gone. Elara's stomach dropped. Had someone taken it? The watcher's warning rang in her head. Not all books are safe. A sound echoed behind her, a soft scrape, like footsteps. She spun her lantern, swinging, but the library was empty. Or was it? The shadows moved, curling along the shelves, forming shapes, hands, eyes. The hunched figure from the book. Elara's breath caught. She clutched her book, its hum steadying her. "Who's there?" she called, her voice echoing. No answer, but the shadows grew thicker, pooling on the floor like ink. She backed toward the door, her heart racing, when a voice spoke, not the watchers, not the inks, but something colder, sharper. "You shouldn't be here, Keeper," it said, coming from the shadows. "The book is not yours alone." Elara froze. A figure stepped from the darkness, not the watcher, not the woman from the market, but the cloaked man she'd seen in Grimholt. His face was still hidden, but his eyes glowed silver, like the woman's. He held a book, smaller than hers, its cover black and slick, like the trees in the hollow. "Who are you?" Elara asked, her voice trembling. The man's lips curled, not a smile but something crueler. "A seeker," he said, "and you're in my way." Before she could move, the shadows surged, rushing toward her like a wave. She screamed, clutching her book, and the hum exploded, a burst of light erupting from the pages. The shadows recoiled, and the man hissed, stepping back. Elara didn't wait. She ran, up the stairs, out of the library, the stones slamming shut. Behind her, she didn't stop running until she reached Grimholt, her chest heaving, her satchel heavy with the book. The forest was silent, but she felt the seeker's eyes on her, even now. The book's hum was quiet, but it was there, warm and steady, like a promise. Elara locked her attic door that night, the book on her lap. She didn't open it, but she didn't need to. The ink had marked her, tied her to the library, to the cosmos. The seeker was out there, and he wanted her book. But the book was hers, and she'd protect it no matter what. The starless sky pulsed outside her window, and the hum sang softly in her bones. The path was getting darker, but Elara was ready, or she had to be. The ink was alive, and so was she. Chapter 4. The Keeper of Forgotten Constellations. Lila's hands shook as she bolted her attic door, the memory of the seeker's silver eyes burning in her mind. The book rested on her bed, its black leather cover gleaming faintly in the candlelight, the broken star symbol pulsing like a distant heartbeat. Outside, Grimholt was silent, the starless sky pressing down like a lid on the world. It was the 4th night since she'd found the library beneath the earth, and sleep was a stranger. The hum in her bones was constant now, a low song that kept her awake, tugging her towards something she didn't understand. The seeker's words echoed in her head. "The book is not yours alone." She'd barely escaped the library, the shadows chasing her up the stairs, the book's light saving her. But the seeker wasn't gone. She felt him, like a shadow just out of sight, waiting. And the woman with the ink-dripping quill, she was out there too, her silver eyes haunting Elara's every step. The book was a magnet, drawing danger to her, and she didn't know why. She hadn't opened the book since the ink bled shadows, since her name sank into its pages. She was scared of what it could do, what it wanted. But tonight, the hum was louder, almost pleading, and her fingers itched to touch the pages. She sat on the floor, pulling the book into her lap. The leather was warm, alive, and when she opened it, the symbols glowed brighter than ever, twisting like rivers of light. The page with the ink drawing was gone. In its place was a new image, a figure, not the watcher or the seeker, but someone else. They stood in a field of stars, their cloak woven with patterns of constellations, swirling lines and dots that shimmered like fireflies. Their face was hidden, but their hands held a staff topped with a glowing orb, and the orb pulsed with the same rhythm as the book's hum. Below the drawing, words formed, sharp and clear. Seek the keeper of forgotten constellations. The stars remember what the earth forgets. Elara's heart raced. Another keeper. The watcher had called her the keeper of the first book. But this figure was different, tied to stars she couldn't see in Grimholt's empty sky. The hum urged her forward, and she turned the page. A map appeared, not the cosmic one from before, but a map of the forest, with the hollow marked by the broken star symbol. Beyond it, deeper in the woods, was a circle labeled the Glade of Lost Lights. She knew the forest, but she'd never heard of the glade. Grimholt's stories spoke of the hollow, but nothing beyond it. Still, the book's hum was a command, pulling her to her feet. She couldn't stay in the attic, hiding from the seeker, from the woman, from the truth. She grabbed her satchel, tucked the book inside, and lit her lantern. The house creaked as she slipped downstairs, her parents' snores masking her steps. The night was waiting. The forest was colder than ever, the air sharp with that sour smell, like decay. The trees in the hollow seemed to lean closer, their branches clawing at her cloak. Elara's lantern flickered, its light weak against the darkness, but the book's hum guided her, steady and sure. She passed the stone that hid the library, its surface dark and still, and kept going, deeper into the forest than she'd ever been. The path was gone, replaced by a tangle of roots and thorns. Her boots sank into the soft earth, and the air grew heavier, like breathing through a wet cloth. The hum led her to a clearing, smaller than the hollow, ringed by trees that glowed faintly, their bark etched with patterns like stars. In the center was a figure, just like the drawing toll, cloaked in a robe of constellations, holding a staff with a glowing orb. The orb's light pulsed, matching the hum in Elara's bones. "You're late," the figure said, their voice soft but sharp, like wind over a frozen lake. They lowered their hood, revealing a face neither young nor old, with eyes like twin galaxies, swirling with light. Their skin was pale, almost translucent, and their hair flowed like liquid starlight. Elara's throat was dry. "Who are you?" she asked, clutching her satchel. "The keeper of forgotten constellations," they said, stepping closer. The orb's light flared, and Elara saw the clearing wasn't empty. The ground was covered in faint, glowing lines, forming shape stars, spirals, patterns that made her head ache. "You're the keeper of the first book, the spark in the dark." "The watcher called me that," Elara said, her voice trembling. "What does it mean?" The keeper tilted their head, their eyes narrowing. "The watcher sees, but does not speak. All the books are keys, Elara of Grimholt. They hold the cosmos together, threads in a tapestry older than time. Your book is the first, the spark that lights the others. But it is not enough alone." Elara's heart pounded. "The seeker, he wants my book. And there's a woman, with silver eyes and a quill. Who are they?" The keeper's face darkened. "The seeker serves the breaker. They would unravel the tapestry, let the stars fall. The woman is the scribe, bound to the ink that bleeds shadows. She writes, but not for truth. She writes for chaos." Elara's stomach twisted. "What do they want with me?" "Your book," the keeper said. "It is the first, the strongest. It can bind or break the others. They will come for it, Elara, and you must be ready." "Ready for what?" she asked, her voice breaking. "I don't even know what I'm doing." The keeper raised their staff, and the glowing lines on the ground flared, forming a map of stars. "The cosmos is fraying," they said. "Long ago, the books were one, a single story that held the stars in place, but they were scattered, hidden across worlds. Your book chose you to find them, to weave the tapestry anew." Elara's head spun. "Find them? How? I'm just a girl from Grimholt." The keeper's eyes softened, just a little. "The stars chose you, not the village. Look." They pointed the staff at the sky, and the clouds parted, revealing a single constellation circle with a jagged line, like the book's symbol. "The broken star. It burns for you." Elara stared, her breath catching. The constellation pulsed, its light warm and familiar, like the book's hum. "What do I do?" she whispered. The keeper handed her a small, round stone, etched with the same constellation. It was warm, humming faintly, like her book. "This is a starstone," they said. "It will guide you to the next book, but only when the time is right. Keep it close, and trust the hum." Elara slipped the stone into her pocket, its warmth spreading through her. And the seeker, the scribe, the keeper's face grew grim. "They will hunt you." The seeker wields a book of ash, the scribe a quill of shadow. "They cannot take your book by force, but they can break you. Guard your heart, Elara." Before she could ask more, the ground shook, a low rumble that made the trees sway. The keeper's eyes widened. "They're here," they hissed, raising their staff. The orb flared, and the clearing filled with light, revealing two figures at the edge: the seeker, his cloak black and slick, and the scribe, her silver eyes gleaming, her quill dripping ink that pooled like blood. "Give us the book, keeper," the seeker said, his voice cold as frost. His book glowed faintly, its pages gray and crumbling, like ash. The scribe smiled, her quill moving through the air, drawing symbols that bled shadows. "Write your end, girl," she said, her voice like a blade. "The ink will take you." Elara's heart raced, but the book in her satchel hummed, strong and steady. She clutched the starstone, its warmth giving her courage. "No," she said, her voice louder than she expected. "It's mine." The keeper stepped forward, their staff blazing. "Leave this place," they said, their voice echoing like thunder. "The glade is mine." The seeker laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "You cannot stop the unraveling." He opened his book, and shadows poured out, sharp and hungry, rushing toward Elara. She screamed, but the book in her satchel flared, its light bursting through the fabric. The shadows recoiled, and the keepers swung their staff, sending a wave of starlight. That drove the seeker and scribe back. "Run," the keeper shouted. "To the library." Now Elara didn't hesitate. She bolted, the lantern swinging wildly, the book's hum guiding her back to the hollow. The forest screamed behind her, shadows and starlight clashing, the ground shaking. She reached the stone, its surface already open, and scrambled down the stairs, her breath ragged. The library was quiet, the shelves glowing softly, but the air was heavy, like a storm was coming. Elara clutched her book, the starstone warm in her pocket. The pedestal was still empty, the silver book gone, but the shelves seemed to whisper, their books humming in time with hers. She didn't know how long she stayed, hiding among the shelves, her heart pounding. The seeker and scribe didn't follow, but she felt their presence, like a shadow on her soul. The keeper's words rang in her head, "Guard your heart." She didn't know how, but she knew she had to keep going, to find the next book, to stop the unraveling. When she finally climbed the stairs, the forest was silent, the glade gone, as if it had never been. The starstone hummed faintly, and the book was warm in her satchel. Grimholt was asleep when she returned, but the sky was different. A single star burned, faint but steady. In the shape of the broken star, Elara locked her attic door, the book on her lap, the starstone beside it. She didn't open the book, but she didn't need to. The hum was part of her now, and the constellation above was hers. The seeker and scribe were out there, hunting her, but she wasn't alone. The keeper of forgotten constellations had given her a piece of the stars, and she'd carry it, no matter what came next. The night was long, but Elara didn't sleep. The hum sang in her bones, and the starstone glowed faintly, whispering of paths yet to come. The cosmos was calling, and she was ready, or she had to be. Chapter 5. The flame that fears the pag. Elara's attic was a cage of shadows, the candle on her table flickering like a frightened heart. The book lay open before her, its black leather cover warm under her fingers, the broken star symbol glowing faintly, as if it knew the danger closing in. The starstone from the keeper of forgotten constellations rested beside it, humming softly, its etched constellation a faint echo of the single star she'd seen in Grimholt's sky last night. It was past midnight, the village silent under a starless blanket, but Elara's mind was loud with fear. The seeker and the scribe were out there, their silver eyes and shadow-bleeding ink haunting her. Every thought. She hadn't slept since escaping the glade of lost lights. The clash of starlight and shadows, the keeper's staff blazing against the seeker's ashen book, played over and over in her head. The book's hum was stronger now, a constant thrum in her chest, like a second heartbeat. It urged her to act, to move, but she didn't know where to go. The starstone was supposed to guide her to the next book, but it was silent, its glow dim, as if waiting for something. Her fingers brushed the book's pages, and the symbols shifted, sharp and alive, forming words she could read. The flame fears the page holds the fire. Elara's breath caught. The watcher had said something about fire. Do not fear the fire. The book cannot burn, and neither can you. But what did it mean? Was the fire real, or was it something else? Something tied to the cosmos, to the fraying tapestry the keeper spoke of. She turned the page, and a new drawing appeared. A flame, not red or orange, but white, its edges jagged like broken glass. It hovered over an open book, its light curling away from the pages, as if afraid to touch them. The flame's core pulsed, with eyes, hundreds of them, staring out, unblinking. Elara's stomach twisted, but she couldn't look away. The hum grew louder, and the starstone flared, its light spilling across the room, painting the walls with constellations that shimmered and moved. Elara, a voice whispered, not from the book, but from the air itself, soft and crackling, like a fire just catching. She froze, her heart pounding. The candle on her table flickered, its flame bending toward the book, then pulling back, as if scared. The room grew warm, too warm, the air thick with the smell of smoke, and something sweeter, like burning flowers. Who's there? She whispered, clutching the book. The starstone pulsed, and the shadows on the walls twisted, forming the shape of the flame from the drawing, white, jagged, alive with eyes. It hovered above her bed, silent but heavy, its presence pressing down like a storm. Do not fear me, it said, its voice a chorus of whispers, like embers popping in a hearth. I am the flame that fears, bound to the books, bound to the truth. Elara's throat was dry. What do you want? She asked, her voice barely a squeak. The flame's eyes blinked, all at once, and the room shook, the floorboards creaking. The page holds me, it said. The page holds all. You are the keeper, Elara. You must wield the fire, or it will wield you. Before she could speak, the flame surged, filling the attic with blinding light. Elara shielded her eyes, but the light wasn't hot, it was cold, sharp, like standing in a frozen wind. When she opened her eyes, she wasn't in her attic anymore. She stood in a vast, empty place, the ground black and smooth, like polished stone. Above her, stars spun in patterns that made her dizzy, their light pulsing in time with the books. The flame hovered before her, its eyes watching, waiting. Where am I? She asked, her voice echoing into the void. The between, the flame said. The place where books meet stars, where truths are written and burned. Your book brought you here. It is time to learn. Elara clutched the book, its warmth steadying her. Learn what? I don't even know what I'm doing. The flame's eyes narrowed. You are the spark, the keeper of the first book. The flame fears the page because the page is truth, and truth is eternal. But the fire is power, and power can destroy or create. You must choose. The ground beneath her shifted, and images appeared in the stone, like reflections in a dark pool. She saw Grimhold, its houses crumbling to ash, the forest burning, the sky cracking open like glass. She saw the Seeker, his ashen book open, shadows pouring out. She saw the Scribe, her quill writing words that bled into the air, forming monsters with too many eyes. And she saw herself, holding her book, standing in a field of stars, the flame at her side. What is this? She whispered, her heart racing. Fraying, the flame said. The cosmos unravels because the books are apart. The Seeker and Scribe serve the breaker, who would burn the tapestry to ash. You must stop them, Elara. The flame will help you, but only if you master it. How? She asked, her voice shaking. I'm not strong enough. The flame pulsed, its light softening. Strength is not in you alone. It is in the book, in the stars, in the fire. Open the page. Write the truth. Elara hesitated, then opened her book. The pages glowed, and the symbols shifted, forming a blank space, like an empty canvas. The starstone in her pocket hummed, and she pulled it out, its constellation glowing bright. The flame hovered closer, its eyes watching as she picked up a quill from her satchel. Her hand trembled, but the hum guided her. Steady and sure, she dipped the quill in the air, and ink appeared not black, but white, like the flame. She wrote a single word, light. The moment the ink touched the page, the flame flared, its eyes closing, and a between shook, stars spinning faster above. The ground beneath her glowed, and she saw Grimholt again, not burning, but whole, its sky filled with stars, the broken star shining brightest. "You see," the flame said, its voice softer now, "the page holds the fire holds the truth, right, and the cosmos listens." Elara's heart pounded, but she felt something new, power, small but growing, like a spark catching kindling. She wrote another word, hope. The flame pulsed, and the between brightened, the stars slowing, their light warm and steady. She wanted to write more, but the flame dimmed, its eyes opening. "Enough," it said. "The page is strong, but you are not ready. Return to your world." The seeker and scribe draw near. The between vanished, and Elara was back in her attic, the book open, the starstone glowing faintly. The candle was out, but the room was warm, the air heavy with that sweet, burning smell. She closed the book, her hands shaking, and hid it under her bed. The starstone went into her pocket, its hum a quiet comfort. Morning came slow, the sky over Grimholt, grey and heavy, like it was morning. Elara slipped downstairs, avoiding her mother's sharp eyes. Agnes was kneading dough, her hands dusted with flour. "You're up early," she said, frowning. "What's got you sneaking around?" "Just restless," Elara lied, grabbing a piece of bread. She couldn't tell her mother about the flame, the between, the words she'd written. It was too big, too strange, and she was still trying to understand it herself. At the market, Lila was waiting, her golden hair dull in the grey light. "You're scaring me, Elara," she said, her voice low. "You look like you're carrying the world. Tell me what's wrong." Elara's throat tightened. She wanted to tell Lila, but the book's hum warned her to stay silent. "I'm fine," she said, forcing a smile. Lila didn't believe her, but she didn't push. As they walked, Elara's eyes caught a flicker of movement, a shadow, too quick, near the blacksmith's forge. She froze, her hand on the stone. It wasn't the seeker or the scribe, but something else, something smaller, like the hunched figure from the ink. It vanished before she could be sure, but her heart raced. The book in her satchel hummed, sharp and urgent. That night, she didn't open the book. She couldn't. The flame's eyes haunted her, and the power of the ink scared her more than the seeker's shadows. But the hum wouldn't let her rest, and the starstone glowed, whispering of the glade, the library, the path she couldn't escape. She slipped out of Grimholt, the forest darker than ever, the air thick with that sour smell. The hollow was quiet, but the stone was open, the stairs waiting. She descended, the book heavy in her satchel, the starstone warm in her pocket. The library was different, brighter, the shelves humming louder, the books pulsing like living things. The pedestal was still empty, but a new book sat on a shelf nearby, its cover red and hot to the touch. Elara reached for it, but a sound stopped her, a crackle, like fire. She turned, and there it was, the white flame, hovering in the air, its eyes watching her. "You cannot hide," it said. "The seeker comes. The scribe writes. The page is your shield, Elara. Use it." Before she could speak, the library shook, the shelves trembling. Shadows poured from the walls, and the seeker stepped from them, his ashen book open, his silver eyes gleaming. "The bookkeeper," he said, his voice cold. "Give it to me, and you live." Elara's heart stopped, but the starstone flared, and the book in her satchel blazed with light. She opened it, her hand steady despite her fear, and wrote, "Fire." The white flame surged, its light blinding, and the shadows screamed, retreating. The seeker hissed, raising his book, but the flame grew, its eyes burning brighter, driving him back. "Run," the flame said, its voice a roar. Elara obeyed, scrambling up the stairs, the book and starstone humming in time. The forest was alive with shadows, but the starstone's light guided her, and she reached Grimholt, her chest heaving. She locked her attic door, the book on her lap, the starstone glowing. The flame's words echoed, "The page is your shield." She didn't understand it all, but she felt the power, the spark growing inside her. The seeker was close, the scribe closer, but the book was hers, and the flame feared its pages. She'd write again. When the time came, the starless sky pulsed outside, but the broken star burned faintly, a promise of light. Elara was scared, but she wasn't alone. The book, the starstone, the flame, they were with her, and the path was hers to walk, no matter how dark it became. Chapter 6. The sky's shattered mirror. Elara's attic felt smaller tonight, the walls closing in like a trap. The book sat heavy on her lap, its black leather cover warm, the broken star symbol pulsing softly, as if it knew the danger creeping. Closer, the starstone glowed faintly in her pocket, its etched constellation a quiet hum against her skin. Outside, Grimholt's sky was a void, starless and heavy, but the single broken star flickered, a weak light fighting the dark. It was past midnight, the village silent, but Elara's heart pounded, loud as a drum. The seeker's silver eyes, the scribe's dripping quill, the white flames staring eyes, they haunted her, weaving through her thoughts like threads of a nightmare. She hadn't gone back to the library beneath the earth since the flame saved her from the seeker's shadows. Fear kept her away, but the book's hum was relentless, a song in her bones that wouldn't let her rest. The starstone was no help, it glowed, but it didn't guide her. Not yet. The keeper of forgotten constellations had said it would lead her to the next book, but all it did was hum, warm and waiting. Elara was tired, her eyes burning from sleepless nights, but the book called, and she couldn't ignore it. She opened it, her hands trembling. The candle on her table flickered, casting jittery shadows that danced like ghosts. The pages glowed, the symbols twisting, sharper than before, like knives carved into silk. A new drawing appeared, a sky, not like Grimholt's, but cracked, like a mirror shattered into 1,000 pieces. Each shard held a star, trapped and flickering, and at the center was her book, its broken star symbol glowing bright. Below it, words formed, clear and cold. The sky's shattered mirror reflects the truth. Mend it, or the stars fall. Elara's breath caught. Mend the sky. The idea was too big, too impossible. She was just a girl from a muddy village, not a hero, not a mender of stars. But the hum in her chest pushed her, urging her to keep reading. She turned the page, and the symbols shifted, forming a map not of the forest, but of a place beyond. A vast plain where the ground glowed like glass and the sky was a mosaic of broken light. At its heart was a circle, marked with the broken star symbol, labeled the mirror's edge. Her heart raced. The starstone flared, its hum matching the book's, and she knew this was where she had to go. The mirror's edge, wherever it was, held answers, maybe the next book. But the forest was dangerous now, crawling with shadows, and the seeker and scribe were hunting her. She clutched the starstone, its warmth steadying her, and whispered, "Show me." The stone pulsed, and the attic vanished. Elara stood on a plain of black glass, the ground cold under her boots. Above, the sky was shattered, shards of light floating like broken ice, each holding a star that flickered weakly. The air was heavy, buzzing with a hum that shook her teeth. Her book was in her hands, glowing brighter than ever, and the starstone burned in her pocket, its light spilling out like a beacon. "Where am I?" she whispered, her voice echoing into the void. "The mirror's edge," a voice answered, not the flame's crackle or the watcher's whispers, but something deeper, like the groan of the earth itself. A figure appeared, not the keeper or the seeker, but a woman, tall and thin, her skin like cracked porcelain, her eyes glowing with the light of trapped stars. Her robe was woven from the same shattered sky, shifting and glinting with every move. "Who are you?" Elara asked, clutching her book tighter. "I am the weaver," the woman said, her voice echoing in the hum. "I mend what is broken, but the sky is too far gone. You, keeper of the first book, must help me." Elara's throat was dry. "Help you? I don't even know what this place is." The weaver raised a hand, and the shards above trembled, their stars pulsing. The sky's shattered mirror is the heart of the cosmos. Each shard holds a star, each star a truth. The books bind them, keep them whole. But the books are scattered, and the mirror breaks. Your book is the first, the key to mending it. Elara's head spun. "The keeper of forgotten constellations," said, "the cosmos is fraying." Is this what she meant? The weaver nodded, her eyes dimming. The tapestry unravels. The seeker and scribe serve the breaker, who would shatter the mirror completely. If they succeed, the stars fall, and the worlds. With them, your book holds the power to mend, but only if you wield it. "How?" Elara asked, her voice shaking. "I wrote in it light, hope, fire, and the flame came, but I don't know what I'm doing." The weaver's eyes softened. "The book is your voice, Elara. Its ink is your will. Write, and the mirror listens. But beware, the seeker and scribe are close. They feel the book's power. and they will stop at nothing to take it. Elara's heart pounded. What do I write? The weaver pointed to the book. Open it. Let the stars guide you. Elara hesitated, then opened the book. The pages glowed, and a blank space appeared, waiting. The starstone pulsed, and she pulled it out, its constellation blazing. She grabbed her quill, her hand steady despite her fear, and dipped it in the air. White ink appeared, like the flame's light. She wrote, "Mend." The sky shook, the shards trembling, their stars flaring brighter. The ground beneath her glowed, and the hum became a song, loud and clear, like 1,000 voices singing together. The shards moved, some clicking into place, their edges fusing, but others hung back, their stars dim and flickering. "It's working," the weaver said, her voice urgent. "But it's not enough. The mirror needs more books, more truths." Before Elara could write again, the air darkened, and a cold laugh cut through the hum. The seeker stepped from the shadows, his ashen book open, its pages crumbling like dead leaves. Beside him was the scribe, her quill dripping black ink that pooled on the glass, forming shapes with too many eyes. "You can't mend what's meant to break," the seeker said, his silver eyes gleaming. "Give me the bookkeeper, or I'll take it from your ashes." The scribe's quill moved, writing symbols in the air that bled shadows, curling toward Elara like snakes. "Write your end," she hissed, her voice sharp as a blade. Elara's heart raced, but the starstone flared, and her book glowed, its light pushing back the shadows. She wrote again, "Shield." The light burst from the page, forming a barrier around her, the shadows hissing as they struck it. The weaver raised her hands, and the shards above spun, their stars flaring, sending beams of light that drove the seeker and scribe back. "Hold them," the weaver shouted. "Write, Elara." Elara's hand shook, but she wrote, "Stars." The sky roared, the shards aligning, their stars burning brighter, their light merging into a single beam that struck the seeker's book. He screamed, the pages turning to ash, and the scribe's quill snapped, its ink dissolving. They vanished, but their laughter echoed, promising return. The weaver's face was grim. "They'll come again," she said. "The breaker drives them. You must find the next book, Elara. The starstone will guide you." Elara nodded, her chest heaving. Where weaver pointed to the starstone. "Follow its light, it knows the way." The mirror's edge faded, and Elara was back. In her attic, the book open, the starstone glowing. The candle was out, the air thick with the smell of burning flowers. She closed the book, her hands trembling, and hid it under her bed. The starstone went into her pocket, its hum a quiet promise. Morning came grey and heavy. Grimholt's sky still starless, but for the broken star, faint but steady. Elara slipped downstairs, avoiding her mother's sharp questions. At the market, Leela was waiting, her eyes worried. "You're slipping away," she said, grabbing Elara's hand. "Tell me what's happening." Elara wanted to, but the book's hum held her back. "I'm okay," she lied, her voice flat. Lila's frown deepened, but she didn't push Dot as they walked. Elara saw a shadow move quick, small, like the ink figure from the book. It vanished, but her heart raced. The starstone hummed, urging her forward. That night, she slipped into the forest, the book in her satchel, the starstone guiding her past, the hollow, deeper than ever. The trees were silent, but the air buzzed, and the ground glowed faintly, like glass. She reached a clearing, not the glade or the hollow, but something new, a place where the sky was cracked, shards of light floating above. The starstone flared, and the book hummed, pointing to a stone etched with the broken star symbol. It opened, revealing stairs, not to the library, but to somewhere else. Elara descended, her heart pounding, the hum her only guide. The chamber below was small, its walls covered in mirrors that reflected not her face, but stars, endless and spinning. In the center was a book, not hers, but blue, its cover pulsing like a heartbeat. She reached for it, but a shadow moved, and the seeker's voice echoed, "Not yet, keeper." She spun, but he was gone. The book in her satchel flared, and she wrote, "Light." The chamber blazed, revealing the blue book's symbol, a spiral, like a galaxy. She grabbed it, and the mirrors shattered, the stars within them spilling out, filling the air with light. Elara ran, the two books heavy in her satchel, the starstone guiding her back to Grim. The sky above pulsed, the broken star brighter now, as if the mirror was mending. She locked her attic door, the books and starstone beside her. The seeker and scribe were close, but she'd found another piece of the tapestry. The path was hers, and she'd walk it, no matter how dark it became. Chapter 7. The voice beyond the void. Elara's attic was a fortress of shadows, the air thick with the scent of old wood and burning flowers. The two books, her black one with the broken star symbol, and the new blue one with the spiral galaxy, side by side on her bed, their covers glowing faintly, humming in harmony like twin heartbeats. The starstone rested in her hand, its etched constellation pulsing, warm against her skin. Outside, Grimholt's sky was a heavy void, the broken star, the only light, flickering like a candle in a storm. It was past midnight, the village asleep, but Elara's mind was alive with fear and wonder. The events of the Mirror's Edge still burning in her thoughts. The Seeker's cold laughter, the Scribe's dripping quill, the Weaver's shattered sky, they haunted her. But the Blue Book was a victory, a piece of the cosmic tapestry she'd claimed. The Starstone had guided her to it, through a chamber of mirrored stars. But the Seeker's words echoed, "Not yet, Keeper." He was close, and so was the Scribe, their shadows lurking in every corner of her world. The hum of the books was louder, now, a song that shook her bones, urging her forward. But she didn't know where to go next. She hadn't opened either book since returning from the chamber. Fear held her back, fear of the flames' staring eyes, the ink's bleeding shadows, the power she'd felt when she wrote light and mend. But tonight, the starstone flared, its light spilling across the attic, and the books hummed louder, almost pleading. She couldn't ignore them anymore. Her hands trembled as she reached for the black book, its leather warm, almost alive. She opened it, and the candle on her table flickered, its flame bending away, as if afraid. The pages glowed, the symbols twisting like living things. A new drawing appeared, a vast, empty blackness, not a sky but a void, deeper than anything Elara could imagine. At its center was a single point of light, pulsing like a heartbeat, and around it, faint lines formed a shape, a mouth, open, whispering. Below it, words glowed, sharp and clear. The voice beyond the void calls the Keeper. Listen, or be lost. Elara's heart raced. Another voice, the Watcher, the Flame, the Weaver, they'd all spoken to her. But this felt different, colder, like a wind from a place where stars didn't shine. The Blue Book hummed, its spiral symbol glowing, and she opened it too. Its pages were different, smoother, like water, with symbols that swirled like galaxies. A map formed, not of the forest or the Mirror's Edge, but of a place beyond, marked by a single word, void. The starstone flared, its light sharp, and the attic vanished. Elara stood in darkness, not the soft dark of night, but a heavy, endless void that pressed against her skin. The books were in her arms, their hums merging into a single note, steady and strong. The starstone glowed in her hand, its constellation the only light, guiding her forward. The air was cold, silent, but she felt something watching, waiting. A voice said, not a whisper but a boom, like thunder rolling through the void. It came from everywhere, shaking her bones, making her teeth ache. She clutched the books tighter, her heart pounding. "Who's there?" she called, her voice small in the vastness. "I am the voice beyond the void," it said, and a figure appeared, not a person, but a shape, formed of light and shadow, its edges shifting like smoke. Its eyes were stars, not burning but cold, like ice under moonlight. "You hold the books, Keeper. You walk the path, but the path is not yours alone." Elara's throat was dry. "What do you want? Why am I here?" The voice's eyes flared, and the void rippled, showing images, stars collapsing, worlds crumbling, Grimholt swallowed by shadows. "The cosmos phrase," it said. "The books are threads, binding the stars, the worlds, the truths. You hold two, but there are more. The breaker seeks them, to tear the tapestry apart. You must listen, or all is lost." Elara's stomach twisted. The Seeker and Scribe, they serve the breaker. "They're after my books." The voice's form shifted, growing larger, its eyes burning brighter. "They are shadows of the breakers. Will, the Seeker burns, the Scribe writes, but the breaker waits. Your books are keys, Elara. They open the void, or seal it." She clutched the books, their hums steadying her. "What do I do?" "The starstone led me to the Blue Book, but where next?" The voice pointed, and the void parted, revealing a distant lighter star, pulsing like the broken star, but brighter, surrounded by a ring of shattered glass. The Tower of Endless Dusk, it said. The next book waits there, guarded by the Silent One. The starstone knows the way. Elara's heart raced. The Silent One. Who's that? The voice's eyes dimmed. A guardian, neither friend nor foe. They hold the third book, but they do not give it freely. You must prove yourself, keeper, or the void will claim you. Before she could ask more, the void shook, and a cold laugh echoed the seekers. He stepped from the darkness, his ashen book open, shadows curling from its pages like smoke. Beside him was the scribe, her quill dripping ink that formed shapes, eyes, teeth. You can't hide in the void, keeper, the seeker said, his silver eyes gleaming. The books are ours. The scribe's quill moved, writing symbols that bled shadows, rushing toward Elara like a wave. She screamed, but the books flared, their light merging into a shield. The starstone pulsed, and she opened the black book, her hand shaking. She wrote, "God." The light exploded, pushing the shadows back, and the voice roared, its form expanding, filling the void with blinding starlight. "Flee," it thundered, "to the tower." The void dissolved, and Elara was back in her attic, the books glowing, the starstone burning in her hand. The candle was out, the air thick with that sweet, burning smell. She hid the books under her bed, her heart pounding, and clutched the voice's words echoed, "The Tower of Endless Dusk." She didn't know where it was, but the starstone hummed, promising to guide her. Morning came grey and heavy, Grimholt's sky still starless, but for the broken star, brighter now, as if the mirror was mending. Elara slipped downstairs, avoiding her mother's sharp eyes. Agnes was at the stove, stirring porridge. "You're up early again," she said, frowning. "What's got you so pale?" "Just a bad dream," Elara lied, grabbing a piece of bread. She couldn't tell her mother about the void, the voice, the books. It was too much, and she was still trying to understand it herself. At the market, Lila was waiting, her golden hair dull in the grey light. "Elara, you're scaring me," she said, her voice low. "You look like you're fading. Tell me what's wrong." Ilara's throat tightened. She wanted to tell Lila, but the book's hum held her back. "I'm fine," she said, forcing a smile. Lila's eyes narrowed, but she didn't push Dot as they walked. Elara saw a shadow move, quick, small, like the ink figure from the book. It vanished, but her heart raced. The starstone hummed, urging her forward. That night, she slipped into the forest, the books in her satchel, the starstone glowing. The hollow was silent. The stone to the library closed, but the starstone pulled her deeper, past the glade, past the mirror's edge, to a place where the trees parted, revealing a tower. It was tall, its stones black and smooth, like the void itself. The air around it was dim, not night but a strange dusk, endless and heavy. The starstone flared, and the books hummed, pointing to a door at the tower's base, etched with the broken star symbol. Elara pushed it open, her heart pounding, and stepped inside. The tower was vast, its walls lined with mirrors that reflected not her face, but stars, spinning and flickering. A staircase spiraled upward, disappearing into the dusk. The books hummed louder, and the starstone glowed, guiding her up. The air grew colder, the hum sharper, and she felt eyes watching her, not the seekers or scribes, but something else, silent, heavy, waiting. At the top was a chamber, small and round, its walls glowing with faint constellations. In the center stood a figure, cloaked in grey, their face hidden, their presence still, like a statue. They held a book, green and shimmering, its cover etched with a symbol like a closed eye. "The Silent One. You seek the third book," they said, their voice soft, like a whisper in a dream. "Prove your worth, keeper, or the void takes all." Elara's heart raced. "How?" she asked, clutching her books. The Silent One raised a hand, and the mirrors flared, showing images: Grimholt burning, stars falling, her own face, older, scarred, holding 3 books. "Write the truth," they said. "Write what you fear." Elara opened her black book, her hand trembling. The starstone pulsed, and white ink appeared, like the flame's light. She wrote, "Fear." The chamber shook, the mirrors cracking, and the Silent One's book glowed, its eye symbol opening. Shadows surged from the walls, but her books flared, their light holding them back. "You are enough," the Silent One said, handing her the green book. "But the seeker comes." Go. Elara grabbed the book, its hum joining the others, and ran, the tower trembling behind her. The forest was alive with shadows, but the starstone guided her back to Grimholt. The 3 books heavy in her satchel. The sky above pulsed, the broken star brighter, as if the tapestry was weaving itself anew. She locked her attic door, the books and starstone beside her. The voice's words echoed, "The books are keys." She had 3 now, but the seeker and scribe were closer, and the breaker waited. The path was hers, and she'd walk it, no matter how dark it became. Chapter 8. The Tower of Endless Dusk. Elara's attic was a cocoon of flickering shadows, the air heavy with the scent of burning flowers and old paper. The 3 books, black with the broken star symbol, blue with the spiral galaxy, and green with the open eye, lay on her bed, their covers glowing faintly, humming in unison like a chorus of distant stars. The starstone rested in her palm, its etched constellation pulsing, warm against her skin. Outside, Grimholt's sky was a starless void, the broken star a lone beacon, brighter now but still fragile, as if it could wink out any moment. It was past midnight, the village silent, but Elara's heart thundered, the Silent One's words echoing, "You are enough." But the seeker comes. The green book was new, its weight heavier than the others, its hum deeper, like a drum in her bones. She'd barely escaped the Tower of Endless Dusk, the Silent One's mirrors cracking as she ran, the seeker's laughter chasing her through the forest. The books were keys, the voice beyond the void had said, binding the cosmic tapestry, but each one brought more danger. The seeker and scribe were closer now, their shadows lurking in every corner of her world. And the breaker, their master, loomed like a storm she couldn't see. She hadn't opened the books since returning. Fear held her back, fear of the flames' staring eyes, the ink's bleeding shadows, the power she'd felt when she wrote fear and claimed the green book. But tonight, the starstone flared, its light spilling across the attic, and the books hummed louder, urgent, almost angry. She couldn't hide anymore. Her hands shook as she reached for the black book, its leather warm, alive. The candle on her table flickered, its flame bending away. As if scared of the pages, she opened the black book, and the symbols twisted, sharp and alive, forming a new drawing. A tower, tall and black, its stones smooth as glass, surrounded by a sky of endless dusk, not night, but a dim grey half-light that felt wrong. At the tower's peak was a window, and through it, a faint glow, like a star trapped inside. Below the drawing, words glowed, cold and clear. The Tower of Endless Dusk holds the truth. Climb, or the stars fade. Elara's breath caught. She'd been to the tower, or thought she had, but this felt different, deeper, like the Silent One's chamber was only the beginning. The blue and green books hummed, their symbols shifting, and she opened them too. The blue book showed a map, not of the forest or the void, but of a winding staircase, spiraling up into darkness. The green book's pages glowed with a single word, ascend. The starstone pulsed, its light sharp, and the attic vanished. Elara stood at the base of the tower, its black stones looming, the air heavy with that endless dusk. The books were in her satchel, their hums merging into a single note, guiding her forward. The starstone glowed, pointing to a door etched with the broken star symbol. She pushed it open, and the air grew colder, the hum louder, like a song from the stars themselves. Inside, the tower was vast, its walls lined with mirrors that reflected not her face, but fragments of skies, some bright with stars, others dark and empty. A staircase spiraled upward, its steps worn smooth, like they'd been climbed for centuries. The books hummed, urging her on, and she climbed, her boots echoing, the starstone lighting her way. The air grew thinner, the dusk heavier, and she felt eyes watching her. Not the seekers or scribes, but something older, quieter, like the tower itself was alive. The stairs seemed endless, twisting higher and higher, the mirrors showing glimpses of worlds, forests burning, oceans of glass, stars falling like rain. Elara's legs ached, but the book's hum kept her moving, the starstone warm in her hand. At last, she reached a chamber, small and round, its walls glowing with faint constellations. In the center was a pedestal, and on it, a book not black, blue, or green, but silver, its cover shimmering like moonlight, etched with a symbol like a crescent moon. A figure stood beside it, cloaked in grey, their face hidden, their presence still, like the Silent One but different. You climb the tower of endless dusk, they said, their voice soft, like a sigh. I am the sentinel, guardian of the fourth book. Prove your worth, keeper, or the dusk claims you. Elara's heart raced. Prove how? She asked, clutching her satchel. The sentinel raised a hand, and the mirrors flared, showing images Grimholt swallowed by shadows, her parents' faces fading, Lila crying, stars crumbling into dust. The truth is heavy, they said. Write what you carry. Elara opened her black book, the starstone pulsing, white ink appearing as she grabbed her quill. She wrote, burden. The chamber shook, the mirrors cracking, and the silver book glowed, its crescent moon symbol shining. Shadows surged from the walls, but her 3 books flared, their light forming a shield. The sentinel nodded, their eyes glinting like stars. You carry much, they said, handing her the silver book. But the seeker and scribe are near. The breaker stirs. Climb higher, keeper. Elara took the book, its hum joining the others, sharp and clear. Before she could speak, the tower trembled, and a cold laugh echoed the seekers. He stepped from the shadows, his ashen book open, shadows curling like smoke. The scribe was beside him, her quill dripping ink that formed claws and eyes. The books are ours, the seeker said, his silver eyes gleaming. Give them up, or we take them. Elara's heart pounded, but the starstone flared, and her books glowed, their light merging. She opened the black book and wrote, defend. The light exploded, pushing the shadows back, and the sentinel raised a hand, mirrors shattering, sending beams of starlight that drove the seeker and scribe away. Their laughter lingered, promising return. Go, the sentinel said. The tower holds more truths, but you are not ready. The starstone will guide you. The chamber faded, and Elara was back in her attic, the 4 books glowing, warm. The candle was out, the air thick with that burning flower smell. She hid the books under her bed, her hands trembling, and clutched the starstone. The sentinel's words echoed, climb higher. The tower wasn't done with her, and neither was the cosmos. Morning came, grey and heavy. Grimholt's sky still starless, but for the broken star, brighter now, as if the tapestry was strengthening. Elara slipped downstairs, dodging her mother's sharp questions. Agnes was kneading dough, her eyes narrowing. You're sneaking again, she said. What's got you so jumpy? Just tired, Elara lied, grabbing bread. She couldn't tell her mother about the tower, the sentinel, the books. It was too big, too strange. At the market Lila was waiting, her golden hair dull in the grey light. Elara, you're fading, she said, her voice tight. You're not telling me something. I'm your friend, talk to me. Elara's throat tightened. She wanted to tell Lila, but the book's hum held her back. I'm okay, she said, forcing a smile. Lila's frown deepened, but she didn't push. As they walked, Elara saw a shadow move quick, small, like the ink figure from the book. It vanished, but her heart raced. The starstone hummed, urging her forward. That night, she slipped into the forest, the books heavy in her satchel, the starstone glowing. The tower loomed, its dusk heavier, the air buzzing with a hum that shook her bones. She climbed again, higher this time, the mirrors showing new images, stars reforming, worlds healing, her own face, stronger, holding 4 books. The stairs ended at a window, the glow from the drawing spilling out, a star trapped inside, pulsing with the book's hum. She reached for it, but a shadow moved, and the scribe's voice hissed, not yet, keeper. Elara spun, but the scribe was gone. The books flared, and she wrote, shine. The window blazed, the star's light flooding the tower, revealing a hidden door. Beyond it was a book, gold and warm, its cover etched with a sun symbol. She grabbed it, and the tower shook, guiding her back to Grimholt. She locked her attic door, the 5 books beside her, their hums a song of power. The seeker and scribe were close, the breaker closer, but the broken star burned brighter, and Elara was ready, or she had to be. The tower's truths were hers now, and the path was hers to climb, no matter how dark it became. Chapter 9. The pact with the nameless stair. Elara's attic was a sanctuary of flickering shadows, the air thick with the scent of burning flowers and ancient paper. The 5 books black with the broken star symbol, blue with the spiral galaxy, green with the open eye, silver with the crescent moon, and gold with the sun symbol lay in a circle on her bed, their covers glowing faintly, their hums weaving a song that vibrated in her chest. The starstone rested in her hand, its etched constellation pulsing like a heartbeat, warm against her skin. Outside, Grimholt's sky was a heavy void, the broken star brighter now, a lone light in the endless dark. It was past midnight, Wednesday, August 6th, 2025, the village silent. But Elara's mind was a storm of fear and determination. The gold book was new, its hum warm and bright, like sunlight trapped in her bones. She'd claimed it in the tower of endless dusk, the star's light guiding her through shattering mirrors and the scribes' hissing threats. The books were keys, binding the cosmic tapestry, but each one drew the seeker and scribe closer, their silver eyes and bleeding ink haunting her every step. The sentinel's words echoed, "Climb higher," but the tower was behind her, and the starstone's hum was pulling her somewhere new, somewhere darker. She hadn't opened the books since returning. The power she'd felt writing shine in the tower scared her the way. The star flared, the mirrors broke, the books sang. But tonight, the starstone glowed brighter, its light spilling across the attic, and the books hummed louder, urgent, almost desperate. She couldn't hide anymore. Her hands shook as she reached for the black book, its leather warm, alive. The candle on her table flickered, its flame bending away, as if afraid of the pages. She opened the black book, and the symbols twisted, sharp and alive, forming a new drawing, a star, not like the broken star, but nameless, pulsing with a light that felt alive, almost hungry. It hung in a sky of swirling black, and around it, faint lines formed a circle, like a pact sealed in light. Below it, words glowed, cold and clear. The nameless star offers the pact, swear it, or the cosmos phrase. Elara's heart raced. A pact. The weaver had spoken of mending the sky, the voice of binding the void, but this felt heavier, like a promise. She couldn't take back. The other books hummed, their symbols shifting, and she opened them too. The blue book showed a map, not of the forest or the tower, but of a place beyond, a vast emptiness marked by a single star. The green book's pages glowed with the word, vow. The silver book showed a hand reaching for the star, and the gold book pulsed with a single note, like a bell ringing in her soul. The starstone flared, its light sharp, and the attic vanished. Elara stood in a void, not the heavy darkness of the voice's realm, but a place of swirling light and shadow, where the air buzzed like a storm. The books were in her satchel, their hums merging into a single song, guiding her forward. The starstone glowed, pointing to a star ahead, pulsing with a light that felt alive, watching her. The nameless star, Elara, a voice said, not a whisper or a boom, but a hum, like the books, warm and cold at once. It came from the star, its light shaping a figure not human, but a silhouette of light, its edges flickering like a flame. Its eyes were voids, not empty but deep, like wells of endless night. "Who are you?" Elara asked, clutching her satchel, the books heavy against her side. "I am the nameless star," it said, its voice echoing in her bones. "I am the vow that binds the keepers, the light that holds the books. You carry 5, keeper of the first book, but the tapestry phrase, swear the pact, or the stars fall." Elara's throat was dry. "What's the pact? What do you want from me?" The star's eyes flared, and the void rippled, showing images Grimholt burning, stars shattering, her own face, older, scarred, holding 5 books as the sky cracked. "The pact is your will," it said. "Swear to guard the books, to mend the tapestry, to face the breaker. In return, I give you light to see the path." Elara's heart pounded. The breaker, the seeker, and scribe serve them. Who are they? The star's form shifted, growing brighter. The breaker is the end of all things, the shadow that unravels. The seeker burns, the scribe writes, but the breaker waits, beyond the void, beyond the stars. Your books are keys, Elara. They can seal the breaker, or set it free. She clutched the books, their hums steadying her. "What do I have to do?" The star pointed, and the void parted, revealing a distant lighter tower. Not the one she'd climbed, but taller, its stones glowing with a faint, sickly light. "The spire of broken vows," it said. "The next book waits there, guarded by the Oathkeeper. Swear the pact, and the starstone will guide you." Elara's stomach twisted. "What's the cost?" "There's always a cost." The star's eyes dimmed. "The pact binds you to the books, to the cosmos. You will carry their weight, their pain. You will lose what you love, but gain what you must. Swear, or the breaker wins. Elara's mind raced Grimholt, her parents, Lila. Could she lose them? But the books hummed, and the starstone glowed, urging her forward. She opened the black book, her hand trembling, and wrote, "Vow." The star flared, its light flooding the void, and the books sang, their hums merging into a single note that shook her soul. The starstone burned, and she felt it a bond heavy and unbreakable, tying her to the books, to the star. "You are bound," the nameless star said. "The spire awaits. Go." Before she could speak, the void shook, and a cold laugh echoed the seekers. He stepped from the shadows, his ashen book open, shadows curling like smoke. The scribe was beside him, her quill dripping ink that formed claws and eyes. "The pact won't save you," the seeker said, his silver eyes gleaming. "The books are ours." The scribe's quill moved, writing symbols that bled shadows, rushing toward Elara like a wave. She screamed, but the books flared, their light forming a shield. The starstone pulsed, and she wrote in the black book, "Bind." The light exploded, chaining the shadows, and the nameless star roared, its light driving the seeker and scribe back. Their laughter lingered, promising return. "Go," the star said. "The spire calls." The void faded, and Elara was back in her attic, the books glowing, the starstone warm. The candle was out, the air thick with that burning flower smell. She hid the books under her bed, her hands trembling, the weight of the pact heavy in her chest. The nameless star's words echoed, "You will lose what you love." She thought of Lila's worried eyes, her mother's sharp voice, her father's quiet laugh. Could she lose them? Morning came grey and heavy, Grimholt's sky still starless, but for the broken star, brighter now, as if her vow had strengthened. Elara slipped downstairs, dodging her mother's questions. Agnes was at the stove, stirring porridge. "You're sneaking again," she said, frowning. "What's wrong with you?" "Just restless," Elara lied, grabbing bread. She couldn't tell her mother about the star, the pact, the books. It was too much. At the market, Lila was waiting, her golden hair dull in the grey light. "Elara, you're breaking my heart," she said, her voice tight. "You're not here anymore. Tell me what's happening." Elara's throat tightened. She wanted to tell Lila, but the pact held her back, its weight like a chain. "I'm okay," she said, forcing a smile. Lila's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't push Dot as they walked. Elara saw a shadow move quick small, like the ink figure from the book. It vanished, but her heart raced. The starstone hummed, urging her forward. That night, she slipped into the forest, the books heavy in her satchel, the starstone glowing. The tower was gone, but the starstone pointed deeper, to a place where the trees parted, revealing a spire, tall and jagged, its stones glowing with that sickly light. The air was heavy, the hum sharp, and Elara felt eyes watching her. She pushed open a door, etched with the broken star symbol, and stepped inside. The spire was vast, its walls lined with chains that glowed faintly, like stars caught in iron. A staircase spiraled upward, and the books hummed, guiding her. The air grew colder, the hum louder, and she climbed, the starstone lighting her way. The top was a chamber, small and dark, its walls pulsing with a faint, sickly glow. A figure stood there, cloaked in white, their face hidden, holding a book read, its cover etched with a symbol like a broken chain. "The Oathkeeper, you seek the sixth book," they said, their voice sharp, like glass. "Swear your truth. Keep her, or the spire breaks you." Elara's heart raced. "I swore the pact," she said, clutching her books. "Isn't that enough?" The Oathkeeper's eyes glinted. "The pact binds you to the stars. The spire binds you to yourself. Write your truth." Elara opened her black book, the starstone pulsing, white ink appearing. She wrote, "Loss." The chamber shook, the chains snapping, and the red book glowed, its broken chain symbol shining. Shadows surged, but her books flared, their light holding them back. The Oathkeeper nodded, handing her the red book. "You are bound," they said. "But the Seeker comes." Elara took the book, its hum joining the others, and ran, the spire trembling. The forest was alive with shadows, but the starstone guided her back to Grimholt, the 6 books heavy in her satchel. The sky pulsed, the broken star brighter, as if the tapestry was weaving itself anew. She locked her attic door, the books and starstone beside her. The pact was hers, the books were hers, and the path was hers, no matter how dark it became. The Seeker and Scribe were close, the breaker closer, but Elara was ready, or she had to be. Chapter 10. The ashes that sing. Elara's attic was a cage of flickering shadows, the air thick with the scent of burning flowers and charred paper. The 6 books, black with the broken star symbol, blue with the spiral galaxy, green with the open eye, silver with the crescent moon, gold with the sun symbol, and red with the broken chain, lay in a tight circle on her bed, their covers glowing faintly, their hums blending into a song that shook her bones. The starstone rested in her hand, its etched constellation pulsing, warm and alive against her skin. Outside, Grimholt's sky was a heavy void, the broken star brighter now, a lone beacon in the endless dark. It was past midnight, Wednesday, August 6, 2025, the village silent, but Elara's heart pounded like a drum, the Oathkeeper's words echoing, "You are bound, but the Seeker comes." The red book was new, its hum sharp and heavy, like a warning bell. She'd claimed it in the spire of broken vows, writing loss to prove herself, the chains snapping as the Oathkeeper handed it over. The books were keys, binding the cosmic tapestry, but each one tightened the Seeker and Scribe's grip on her trail. Their silver eyes and bleeding ink haunted her, and the breaker, their master, loomed like a shadow she couldn't see. The pact with the nameless star weighed on her chest, a vow she couldn't escape, to guard the books, mend the tapestry, face the breaker. But what did it mean to face something that could unravel the stars? She hadn't opened the books since returning. The power she'd felt writing loss scared her the way the spire shook. The chains broke, the books sang. But tonight, the starstone flared, its light spilling across the attic, and the books hummed louder, urgent, almost pleading. She couldn't hide anymore. Her hands trembled as she reached for the black book, its leather warm, alive. The candle on her table flickered, its flame bending away, as if afraid of the pages. She opened the black book, and the symbols twisted, sharp and alive, forming a new drawing, a pile of ashes, glowing faintly, with shapes rising from them, faces, hands, stars. The ashes pulsed, and faint lines formed a melody, like notes written in light. Below it, words glowed, cold and clear. The ashes that sing hold the past. Hear them, or the tapestry unravels. Elara's breath caught. Ashes, the weaver had spoken of mending the sky, the voice of binding the void, the Oathkeeper of swearing truths, but this felt different, told her, sadder, like a memory that hurt to touch. The other books hummed, their symbols shifting, and she opened them. The blue book showed a map, not of the forest or the spire, but of a place beyond, a plain of ash under a sky of fading stars. The green book glowed with a word, "Listen." The silver book showed hands rising from ashes, and the gold and red books pulsed with a single note, like a song caught in time. The starstone flared, its light sharp, and the attic vanished. Elara stood on a plain of ash, the ground soft and warm, like a fire just gone out. The books were in her satchel, their hums merging into a single song, guiding her forward. The starstone glowed, pointing to a mound of ashes ahead, glowing faintly, whispering a melody that made her chest ache. The air was heavy, buzzing with a hum that shook her teeth, and the sky above was dim, stars flickering like candles about to die. "Elara," a voice sang, not a whisper or a boom, but a chorus, like 1,000 voices woven together, soft and sad. It came from the ashes, their glow shaping a figure not human, but a silhouette of light and dust, its edges shimmering like embers. Its eyes were stars, not cold like the nameless stars, but warm, like fires long burned out. "Who are you?" Elara asked, clutching her satchel, the books heavy against her side. "We are the ashes that sing," it said, its voice echoing in her soul. "We are the keepers who came before, the books that burned but did not die. You carry 6, keeper, of the first book, but the tapestry phrase, 'Hear us, or the stars fade.'" Elara's throat was dry. Keepers before, what happened to them? The ashes pulsed, and the figure's eyes dimmed. "We swore the pact, as you did. We guarded the books, mended the tapestry, but the breaker came, and we fell. Our ashes sing to guide you, to warn you." Elara's heart raced. "Warn me about the Seeker and Scribe." The figure's form shifted, growing brighter. "They are shadows of the breaker's will. The Seeker burns, the Scribe writes, but the breaker waits, beyond the stars, beyond time. Your books are keys, Elara. They can mend the tapestry, or tear it apart." She clutched the books, their hums steadying her, What do I do? The star led me to the red book, but where next? The ashes flared, and the plain rippled, showing images Grimholt swallowed by shadows, stars falling like rain. Her own face, scarred, holding 6 books as the sky burned. The grove of silent songs, the ashes sang. The next book waits there, guarded by the songkeeper. Hear us, and the starstone will guide you. Elara's stomach twisted. What's the cost? The pact took something from me. What do the ashes want? The figure's eyes softened. We ask only that you listen. The ashes sing of loss, of sacrifice, of truths burned but not forgotten. Write our song, Elara, and the tapestry strengthens. Elara hesitated, then opened her black book, the starstone pulsing, white ink appearing as she grabbed her quill. She wrote, "Song." The ashes flared, their melody rising, filling the plain with a sound that made her eyes sting. The ground glowed, and the stars above brightened, their light weaving into patterns that matched the book's hums. The song was sad, heavy with the weight of lost keepers, but it was strong, like a promise. You hear us, the ashes sang, but the seeker and scribe are near. The breaker stirs. Write, keeper. Before she could write again, the plain shook, and a cold laugh echoed the seekers. He stepped from the shadows, his ashen book open, shadows curling like smoke. The scribe was beside him, her quill dripping ink that formed claws and eyes. The ashes won't save you, the seeker said, his silver eyes gleaming. The books are ours. The scribe's quill moved, writing symbols that bled shadows, rushing toward Elara like a wave. She screamed, but the books flared, their light forming a shield. The starstone pulsed, and she wrote in the black book, "Sing." The ashes roared, their melody surging, and the shadows screamed, retreating. The figure of ashes blazed, driving the seeker and scribe back, their laughter lingering, promising return. "Go," the ashes sang. The grove calls. The plain faded, and Elara was back in her attic, the books glowing, the starstone warm. The candle was out, the air thick with that burning flower smell. She hid the books under her bed, her hands trembling, the ashes song echoing in her chest. The grove of silent songs, she didn't know where it was, but the starstone hummed, promising to guide her. Morning came grey and heavy. Grimholt's sky still starless, but for the broken star, brighter now, as if her song had strengthened it. Elara slipped downstairs, dodging her mother's sharp questions. Agnes was at the stove, stirring porridge. "You're sneaking again," she said, frowning. "What's eating you?" "Just restless," Elara lied, grabbing bread. She couldn't tell her mother about the ashes, the song, the books. It was too big, too sad. At the market, Lila was waiting, her golden hair dull in the grey light. "Elara, you're breaking my heart," she said, her voice tight. "You're not my friend anymore. You're something else. Tell me." Ela's throat tightened. The pact, the ashes, the books, they held her back. "I'm okay," she said, forcing a smile. Lila's eyes filled with tears, and she walked away, leaving Elara alone. As she stood in the market, a shadow moved, quick, small, like the ink figure from the book. It vanished, but her heart raced. The starstone hummed, urging her forward. That night, she slipped into the forest, the books heavy in her satchel, the starstone glowing. The tower was gone, the spire too, but the starstone pointed deeper, to a place where the trees parted, revealing a grove, quiet and still, its air humming with a silent song. The ground was soft, covered in ash that glowed faintly, whispering a melody. A figure stood in the center, cloaked in silver, holding a book white, its cover etched with a symbol, like a musical note. "The Songkeeper, you seek the 7th book," they said, their voice soft, like a lullaby. "Sing your truth, Keeper, or the grove silences you." Elara's heart raced. "I heard the ashes," she said, clutching her books. "I wrote their song." The Songkeeper's eyes glinted. "The ashes sing of loss, sing of hope." Elara opened her black book, the starstone pulsing, white ink appearing. She wrote, "Hope." The grove shook, the ash rising, singing a melody that made her chest ache. The white book glowed, its note symbol shining. Shadows surged, but her books flared, their light holding them back. The Songkeeper nodded, handing her the white book. "You sing," they said, "but the seeker comes." Elara took the book, its hum joining the others, and ran, the grove trembling. The forest was alive with shadows, but the starstone guided her back to Grimholt, the 7 books heavy in her satchel. The sky pulsed, the broken star brighter, as if the tapestry was weaving itself anew. She locked her attic door, the books and starstone beside her. The ashes song lingered, sad but strong, and the path was hers, no matter how dark it became. The seeker and scribe were close, the breaker closer, but Elara was ready, or she had to be. Chapter 11. The unraveling of the cosmos. Elara's attic was a fortress of flickering shadows, the air thick with the scent of burning flowers, charred paper, and something sharper, like the edge of a storm. The 7 books, black with the broken star symbol, blue with the spiral galaxy, green with the open eye, silver with the crescent moon, gold with the sun symbol, red with the broken chain, and white with the musical note, lay in a tight circle on her bed, their covers glowing, their hums weaving a song that shook her bones like a warning. The starstone rested in her hand, its etched constellation pulsing, warm and alive, a steady light in the dark. Outside, Grimholt's sky was a heavy void, the broken star brighter than ever, a beacon fighting the endless dark. It was past midnight, Wednesday, August 6, 2025, the village silent, but Elara's heart thundered, the songkeeper's words echoing, "You sing, but the seeker comes." The white book was new, its hum soft but piercing, like a melody caught in her soul. She'd claimed it in the grove of silent songs, writing hope to prove herself, the ash rising as the songkeeper handed it over. The books were keys, binding the cosmic tapestry, but each one tightened the seeker and scribe's grip on her trail. Their silver eyes, bleeding ink, and cold laughter haunted her, and the breaker, their master, loomed like a shadow growing larger with every step she took. The pact with the nameless star weighed heavy, a vow to guard the books, mend the tapestry, face the breaker, but the ashes song, sad and strong, whispered of loss, and Elara felt the cost of her path in every beat of her heart. She hadn't opened the books since returning from the grove, the power she'd felt writing hope the way the ash sang. The stars brightened, the books hummed, scared her. It was too big, too much for a girl from a muddy village. But tonight, the starstone flared, its light spilling across the attic, and the books hummed louder, urgent, almost desperate, like a cry for help. She couldn't hide anymore. Her hands trembled as she reached for the black book, its leather warm, alive. The candle on her table flickered, its flame bending away, as if afraid of the pages. She opened the black book, and the symbols twisted, sharp and alive, forming a new drawing, a sky, not just cracked like the weaver's mirror, but unraveling, threads of light pulling apart like a torn cloth. Stars fell, spiraling into a void that pulsed with a hungry darkness. At the center was her book, its broken star symbol, glowing, surrounded by the other 6, their symbols linked in a circle. Below it, words glowed, cold and clear. The cosmos unravels. Bind it, or all is lost. Elara's breath caught. Bind the cosmos. The weaver had spoken of mending the sky, the voice of sealing the void, the ashes of singing the past. But this was bigger, final, like the end of everything. The other books hummed, their symbols shifting, and she opened them too. The blue book showed a map, not of the forest or the grove, but of a place beyond, a vast emptiness where the stars were fraying, threads snapping. The green book glowed with the word, bind. The silver book showed hands weaving light. The gold book pulsed with the sun's warmth. The red book snapped like breaking chains, and the white book sang a single note, sharp and clear. The starstone flared, its light sharp, and the attic vanished. Elara stood in a void, not the swirling light of the nameless star or the ash of the grove, but a place of unraveling chaos, where the air screamed with the sound of tearing threads. The books were in her satchel, their hums merging into a single song, desperate and strong. The starstone glowed, pointing to a point of light ahead, pulsing like the broken star, but fraying, its edges unraveling into darkness. Elara, voice called, not a whisper, boom, or song, but a cry, like 1,000 stars screaming at once. It came from the light, shaping a figure not human, but a weave of threads, glowing and snapping. Its eyes twin voids, hungry and endless. "Who are you?" Elara asked, clutching her satchel, the books heavy against her side. "I am the weaver of the end," it said, its voice shaking her soul. "I am the last thread, the final binding. You carry 7 books, keeper of the first book, but the cosmos unravels. Bind it, or the breaker consumes all." Elara's throat was dry, Bind it. How? I've got 7 books, but the seeker and scribe are hunting me, and the breakers waiting. I'm not enough. The figure's eyes flared, and the void rippled, showing images Grimhold gone, her parents' faces fading, Lila swallowed by shadows, stars collapsing into dust. You are the spark, it said. The books are your fire. Write the binding, Elara, or the tapestry falls. Ilara's heart raced. Write what? I've written light, hope, song, but it's not enough. The weaver of the end pointed, and the void parted, revealing a distant lighter circle of stars, pulsing with the book's hums, surrounded by a darkness that ate the light. The circle of eternal threads, it said. The last book waits there, guarded by the threadkeeper. Bind the books, and the starstone will guide you. Elara's stomach twisted. The last book. Then what? The figure's eyes dimmed. The breaker waits beyond the circle. The seeker and scribe are its hands, but you are the spark. Bind the books, or lose everything. Elara clutched the books, their hums steadying her. What do I write? The weaver raised a hand, and the threads around it tightened, glowing. Write your heart. The books are you, Elara. Their truth is yours. She hesitated, then opened her black book, the starstone pulsing, white ink appearing as she grabbed her quill. She wrote, whole. The void shook, the threads tightening, stars, flaring brighter, their light weaving into patterns that matched the book's hums. The darkness recoiled, but it didn't vanish, pulsing like a heartbeat, waiting. It begins, the weaver said, but the seeker and scribe are here. The breaker stirs, right keeper. Before she could write again, the void shook, and a cold laugh echoed the seeker's. He stepped from the darkness, his ashen book open, shadows curling like smoke. The scribe was beside him, her quill dripping ink that formed claws and eyes. The books are ours, the seeker said, his silver eyes gleaming. The cosmos will unravel. The scribe's quill moved, writing symbols that bled shadows, rushing toward Elara like a wave. She screamed, but the books flared, their light forming a shield. The starstone pulsed, and she wrote in the black book, hold. The light exploded, binding the shadows, and the weaver of the end roared, its threads weaving a net that drove the seeker and scribe back. Their laughter lingered, promising return. Go, the weaver said. The circle calls. The void faded, and Elara was back in her attic, the books glowing, the starstone warm. The candle was out, the air thick with that burning flower smell. She hid the books under her bed, her hands trembling, the weaver's words echoing. Write your heart. The weight of the pact, the ashes song, the unraveling cosmos. It was all on her now. Morning came grey and heavy, Grimhold's sky still, starless but for the broken star, brighter now, as if her writing had strengthened it. Elara slipped downstairs, dodging her mother's sharp questions. Agnes was at the stove, stirring porridge. You're fading, girl, she said, frowning. What's got you so hollow? Just tired, Elara lied, grabbing bread. She couldn't tell her mother about the void, the weaver, the books. It was too much, too heavy. At the market, Leela was waiting, her golden hair dull in the grey light. Elara, you're gone, she said, her voice breaking. You're not my friend anymore. Tell me what's killing you. Elara's throat tightened. The pact, the ashes, the books, they held her back. I'm okay, she said, forcing a smile. Lila's eyes filled with tears, and she turned away, leaving Elara alone. As she stood in the market, a shadow moved quick, small, like the ink figure from the book. It vanished, but her heart raced. The starstone hummed, urging her forward. That night, she slipped into the forest, the books heavy in her satchel, the starstone glowing. The grove was gone, the spire too, but the starstone pointed deeper, to a place where the trees parted, revealing a circle of stones, glowing with a faint, pulsing light. The air was heavy, the hum sharp, and Elara felt eyes watching her. She stepped into the circle, and the ground glowed, stars rising from it like embers. A figure stood in the center, cloaked in light, holding a book violet, its cover etched with a symbol like a woven thread. The threadkeeper you seek, the 8th book, they said, their voice soft, like a whisper of light. Weave your truth, keeper, or the circle breaks. Elara's heart raced. I wrote whole. I'm trying to bind the cosmos. The threadkeeper's eyes glinted. The cosmos is you. Weave your heart. Elara opened her black book, the starstone pulsing, white ink appearing. She wrote, heart. The circle shook, the stones flaring, stars weaving into threads that glowed. The violet book glowed, its thread symbol shining. Shadows surged, but her books flared, their light holding them back. The threadkeeper nodded, handing her the violet book. "You weave," they said, "but the breaker comes." Elara took the book, its hum joining the others, and ran, the circle trembling. The forest was alive with shadows, but the star guided her back to Grimholt, the 8 books heavy in her satchel. The sky pulsed, the broken star brighter. As if the tapestry was nearly whole, she locked her attic door, the books and starstone beside her. The weaver's words echoed, "Write your heart." The cosmos was unraveling, but Elara was the spark, and the books were her fire. The seeker and scribe were close, the breaker closer, but she was ready, or she had to be. Chapter 12. The book that remembers. Elara's attic was a fortress of trembling light, the air thick with the scent of burning flowers, charred paper, and a sharp tang, like the edge of a cosmic storm. The 8 books, black with the broken symbol, blue with the spiral galaxy, green with the open eye, silver with the crescent moon, gold with the sun symbol, red with the broken chain, white with the musical note, and violet with the woven thread lay in a tight circle on her bed, their covers glowing, their hums weaving a song that shook her soul like a call to war. The starstone rested in her hand, its etched constellation pulsing, warm and alive, a beacon in the dark. Outside, Grimholt's sky was a heavy void, the broken star blazing now, a defiant light against the endless dark. It was past midnight. Wednesday, August 6, 2025. The village silent, but Elara's heart thundered, the threadkeeper's words echoing, "You weave, but the breaker comes." The violet book was new, its hum deep and steady, like a heartbeat of light. She'd claimed it in the circle of eternal threads, writing hard to prove herself. The stars weaving as the threadkeeper handed it over. The books were keys, binding the cosmic tapestry, but each one brought the seeker and scribe closer, their silver eyes and bleeding ink a constant threat. The breaker there, master, loomed larger than ever, a shadow that felt like the end of everything. The pact with the nameless star was a chain around her soul, a vow to guard the books, mend the tapestry, face the breaker. The ashes song, the weaver's threads, the tower's mirrors, they all pointed to this moment. But Elara wasn't ready. How could she be? She hadn't opened the books since returning from the circle. The power she'd felt writing hard, the way the stars wove, the tapestry strengthened, the book sang terrified her. It was too big for a girl from a muddy village, too heavy for her trembling hands. But tonight, the starstone flared, its light flooding the attic, and the books hummed, louder, urgent, almost angry, like a cry for the end. She couldn't hide anymore. Her hands shook as she reached for the black book, its leather warm, alive. The candle on her table flickered, its flame bending away. As if afraid of the pages, she opened the black book, and the symbols twisted, sharp and alive, forming a new drawing, a book, not like hers, but vast, its cover a swirling void, its pages glowing with every symbol she'd seen: broken star, spiral galaxy, open eye, crescent moon, sun, broken chain, musical note, woven thread. It pulsed with light, and around it, the cosmos stood still, stars frozen, skies whole. Below it, words glowed, cold and clear. The book that remembers all holds the truth. Claim it, or the cosmos falls. Elara's breath caught. The final book. The weaver had spoken of mending the sky, the voice of sealing the void, the ashes of singing the past. But this was everything, the end of her path, the key to the tapestry. The other books hummed, their symbols shifting, and she opened them, too. The blue book showed a map, not of the forest or the circle, but of a place beyond, a vast expanse where stars burned in a perfect circle. The green book glowed with a word, claim. The silver book showed hands holding a glowing book. The gold book pulsed with warmth. The red book snapped like breaking chains. The white book sang a clear note, and the violet book wove threads of light. The starstone flared, its light sharp, and the attic vanished. Elara stood in a place of blinding light, not a void or a plain, but a circle of stars, their glow so bright it hurt her eyes. The books were in her satchel, their hums merging into a single song, desperate and strong. The starstone glowed, pointing to a pedestal ahead, where a book rested vast, its cover a swirling void, its pages pulsing with every symbol she'd seen. The book that remembers all. Elara, a voice called, not a whisper, boom, or song, but a chorus of all voices: watcher, flame, weaver, voice, ashes, sentinel, oathkeeper, songkeeper, threadkeeper, woven into one. It came from the book, its light shaping a figure not human, but a silhouette of stars, its edges shimmering like a galaxy, its eyes twin suns, burning with truth. "Who are you?" Elara asked, clutching her satchel, the books heavy against her side. "I am the memory of the cosmos," it said, its voice shaking her soul. "I am the book that holds all truths, all keepers, all stars. You carry 8, keeper of the first book, but the tapestry phrase, 'Claim me, or the breaker consumes all.'" Ilara's throat was dry. "Claim you. I've got 8 books, but the seeker and scribe are hunting me, and the breaker's coming. I'm not enough." The figure's eyes flared, and the circle rippled, showing images: Grimholt gone, her parents fading, Lila swallowed by shadows, stars collapsing into dust, her own face scarred, holding 9 books as the sky burned. "You are the spark," it said. "The books are your fire. Write the truth, Elara, or the cosmos falls." Elara's heart raced. "Write what?" "I've written light, hope, song, heart, but it's not enough." The memory pointed to the book on the pedestal. "Write your truth. The books are you, Elara. Their memory is yours." She hesitated, then opened her black book, the starstone pulsing, white ink appearing as she grabbed her quill. She wrote, "Truth." The circle shook, the stars flaring brighter, their light weaving into a tapestry that glowed with every symbol. The vast book pulsed, its pages opening, and the other books sang, their hums merging into a song that made her chest ache. The darkness recoiled, but it didn't vanish, pulsing like a heartbeat, waiting. "It begins," the memory said, "but the breaker is here." The circle shook, and a cold laugh echoed the seekers. He stepped from the darkness, his ashen book open, shadows curling like smoke. The scribe was beside him, her quill dripping ink that formed claws, eyes, and teeth. Behind them, a shadow loomed vast, formless, its presence heavy, like the end of all things. "The breaker, you can't claim the final book," the seeker said, his silver eyes gleaming. "The cosmos is ours." The scribe's quill moved, writing symbols that bled shadows, rushing toward Elara like a wave. She screamed, but the books flared, their light forming a shield. The starstone pulsed, and she wrote in the black book, "Memory." The light exploded, binding the shadows, and the memory of the cosmos roared, its form expanding, filling the circle with blinding starlight. The seeker and scribe screamed, their forms fraying, but the breaker's shadow grew, its weight pressing down like a storm. "Claim it," the memory shouted. Now, Elara ran to the pedestal, her hands trembling, and grabbed the vast book. Its hum joined the others, a song so loud it shook her soul. The symbols on its pages glowed, showing every truth she'd written: light, hope, song, heart, truth. She wrote again, whole. The circle blazed, the stars weaving into a tapestry, the darkness recoiling. The seeker and scribe vanished, their laughter fading, but the breaker's shadow lingered, its voice a whisper. "This is not the end." The memory's eyes softened. "You have claimed the book that remembers all," it said. "The tapestry is whole, but the breaker waits. Guard the books, Elara. The cosmos is yours." The circle faded, and Elara was back in her attic, the 9 books glowing, the starstone warm. The candle was out, the air thick with that burning flower smell. She hid the books under her bed, her hands trembling, the memory's words echoing, "The cosmos is yours." The weight of it was crushing, but the tapestry was whole. The stars, safe for now, morning came bright, Grimholt's sky no longer starless. The broken star was joined by others, a constellation pulsing with light. Elara slipped downstairs, her heart lighter but heavy with loss. Agnes was at the stove, stirring porridge. "You look different," she said, frowning. "What's changed?" "Nothing." Elara leaned, grabbing bread. She couldn't tell her mother about the books, the memory, the breaker. It was hers to carry Dot at the market. Lila was waiting, her golden hair bright in the new light. "Elara," she said, her voice soft. "You're back. What happened?" Elara's throat tightened. The pact, the books, the cosmos, they were part of her now, but Lila was still her friend. "I'm here," she said, smiling, and this time, it wasn't a lie. Lila hugged her, tears in her eyes. Dot as they walked. Elara felt the starstone hum. The books safe under her bed, the seeker and scribe were gone, but the breaker's shadow lingered, a promise of future battles. The sky was whole, the stars bright, but Elara knew her path wasn't over. The books were hers, the cosmos hers, and she'd guard them, no matter what came. The attic was quiet that night, the books silent, their hums soft like a lullaby. The starstone glowed, and the broken star shone outside, a reminder of her vow. Elara was the keeper, the spark, and the cosmos was safe for now.